back to my channel. Today we are going to dive right in to the new palette from Natasha Denona. It's the Circo Loco palette. And this is a very, very colorful palette, as you can see. I recently bought this on a pre-order on Natasha Denona's website. This palette retails for $129. I'm not sure when it will be coming to Sephora. If I find out that date while I'm editing, I will put it down here at the bottom of the screen. But I know that many of you guys are waiting for the sale at Sephora to buy this palette, which I 100% do not blame you. If I didn't review makeup, I would have waited till the Sephora sale to pick this palette up. Me personally, I'm not like a super fan of color. It was challenging at times, but it was really fun because it did challenge me at the same time. So in the video, I created 3 different tutorials and I wanted the tutorials to be a little bit more wearable. I'm sure there's going to be amazing, beautiful, colorful looks uploaded on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. For me, because I am very challenged in the area of colorful palettes, I decided to make them a little bit more wearable, but still play with the textures and be able to give you my overall thoughts. For those of you who want really beautiful, colorful looks, I'm going to recommend you watch my friend Mel Thompson's video. I have talked to her privately and I know she has the palette. I am so excited to see her looks. You guys all know that she's like the eyeshadow queen, right? Like she creates amazing, amazing looks. So once her video is posted, if you guys are watching this after her video is posted, I will leave a link to it in the description box down below for those of you guys that want a little bit more colorful inspiration, because I'm just so excited to see her looks. I can't even wait. Now this palette consists of a variety of different textures. So we have creamy mattes, cream to powder. We only have one cream to powder formula in here, and it's this shade right here, which if you guys watch me on a regular basis, I'm not a big fan of Natasha Denona's cream to powder formula. I struggled so much with the Metropolis palette, and that palette is filled with the cream to powder formula. So I was really happy to hear that there was only one shade in this palette in that cream to powder formula. We also have some traditional metallics, and we also have some sparkling metallic shades in here. And I am telling you, the shade that's on my lid right now, which is this one, is the prettiest like aqua blue I have ever seen in my life. I don't have this shade anywhere in my collection. I am living for it. So that's all the information about the palette. Of course, I will get into more of my thoughts about it and how it performed and all of that in my final thoughts. But for now, we're going to go ahead and jump into the 3 looks that I created using this palette. And then we will jump into a few swatches and comparisons. I'll be honest with you, I don't have a lot of colorful palettes in my collection, but I'm going to do my very, very best to find a lot of palettes that maybe have a similar color story. I will say though, this is a very unique color story. So I don't know that I'll be able to find anything that has this much of a variety of color, especially in my personal collection, but I will try to find similar shades that might match some of these shades. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the 3 eyeshadow looks, and I will see you guys all in my final thoughts. Let's jump into the first tutorial using this new palette. Let's go with the orange. I kind of want to see what the orange would look like on the lid. I'm going to go into the shade Spiral, and I'm going to put it on dry first just to see what it looks like on the lid and how it blends dry versus dampened. Obviously, you'll probably get a way better application by applying with your finger. Oh yeah. But again, I have nails, so for those of you that have nails, you know the struggle. It's not always the easiest to do when you have nails, but we try to do our best. And then I'm just going to grab like a small crease brush, and I'm going to go into it and start sweeping it up into the crease. am getting some fallout, so I would probably recommend doing your eye makeup first. All right, so now I'm gonna grab the shade Firework. So I'm gonna use the shade Firework lightly in the crease and then use that to kind of blend out that shimmer. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of setting spray and I'm gonna go into the shade Spiral again. Now I'm just gonna intensify this on the lid just a little bit more, just to make sure that it's nice and shiny, you know? The shade is so easy to work with. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's so easy to work with and they blend out beautifully. Let's go into the shade Grin, this one right here. And I am gonna take that same brush that's dampened from the setting spray, place that right here on the center, just to really make that center lid shine and give it a little bit of dimension, just so that it kind of has something other than just orange. You know how that is. It's nice to give it a little bit of pop. So I'm gonna bring that all the way up. The finger is definitely the best way to apply these shades. Okay, so I went ahead and got rid of the fallout. Now I'm just gonna take a small pencil brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Firework, and I'm gonna bring that right here on the lower lash line. Okay, so this is the final look for look number 1, and I want to let you guys know that I did take the shade Spiral and I brought it along the lower lash line just to bring some shimmer under there, and I also used the shade Grin on the inner corner. But I have to say that this I could totally see myself wearing. I could see myself wearing a really cute orange shirt and wearing this eyeshadow look with it. This is very wearable to me versus wearing something that is maybe a little bit more colorful that I'm not really comfortable with. So this I could see myself wearing. So I really love the way that this turned out, and the shimmer and the matte that I used so far, absolutely beautiful. So that's it for look number 1. Let's go ahead and jump into look number 2. So let's go ahead and jump into look number 2. I'm gonna try to do the pink color. I'm gonna go into the shade Joker, which is that really pretty hot pink matte, and I'm gonna build this all over the lid, kind of taking it as far as I can. Now, I am applying this over a set primer, so my primer is set. And for my primer, I'm using the NARS Soft Matte Concealer in a little jar. Now I'm going to take some on the tip of the brush and start kind of working it up and into the crease, kind of following the shape of my eye. Now I'm going to move on to a smaller brush and just kind of use the smaller brush to kind of use as a guide to where I want to start putting the color, and then I will blend it out. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of setting powder and I'm going to buff over these edges just to kind of define it and blend it out. See how I was struggling getting it to kind of blend? Going into some setting powder makes all the difference. So first I want to take the shade Razzle Dazzle and kind of lay it down on the center of the lid. Then I want to take this silver shade and put it over top. I'm going to use my finger to apply this shade, and I'm just going to kind of pop it on the lid. Now I'm going to go into the shade Aerolist. So I'm going to pop it right over top of the pink matte that I put down, or the pink shimmer that I put down. Don't mind me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Mixing the silver with the pink kind of gives you that lilac color, and that was what I was looking for. Now I'm just going to kind of go back and forth between those two shades and kind of get the right mixture of what I'm trying to achieve, I guess. Now I want to take my brush and I want to dip into the shade Razzle Dazzle and Aerolist. I want to kind of mix those two shades together and bring it a little bit up into the crease just to give a little bit of shimmer. Just so it's not all matte in the crease. Give the shimmer some life, you know? I want to be able to have a little bit of that shimmer. Ooh, I love that though. It's so pretty. Now, I'm going to do the exact same thing on the lower lash line. So I'm going to dip into Razzle Dazzle, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of Aerolist, tap off, and bring that right along here. Then we're going to take Aerolist and we're going to pop it right on the inner corner. Okay, so this is the final look for look number 2, and I love the way that this turned out. I think it turned out much better than I thought. And even though pink is very intimidating for me, I really like this. That's it for look number 2. Let's go ahead and jump into look number 3, which will be the final look. Okay, so I went ahead and wiped off both of my eyes, got everything cleaned back up, got my eyeshadow primer back down. Let's go ahead and jump into the third and final look. And of course, I have been patiently waiting to use these shades right here. When I'm working with like a turquoise or like a blue, mint, anything with that light blue base, I always like to use a bronzer in the crease. I am gonna grab this Gucci bronzer. I like a warmer bronzer. Adding a warmer or a neutral like brown shade will make the look be a little bit more wearable. So I'm gonna grab this shade right here. Based on my skin tone, I don't know how much depth I'm gonna be able to build with this shade. Okay, I'm also going to bring that on the lower lash line. It's really light. Looks a little weird, right? Yeah, this shade is what I want all over my lid. This is the shade Snow Cone. That is the one main reason why I decided to buy this palette. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of that and I'm gonna go right on the lid with it. Oh, you guys, this shade though, right? Oh my gosh. That is the prettiest mint I have ever seen in my life, hands down. Absolutely beautiful. Whew! I mean, look at that. Ooh! Ooh! She is beautiful, you guys. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe out this because I probably should have went with the bronzer and built from there. I kind of feel like I need something other than this to kind of just pull it together. So I'm just gonna wipe that color out of the crease. Okay, so I went ahead and put some eyeshadow base back down. Let's go ahead and grab the bronzer. So this is just the Gucci bronzer. It's in the shade 04, but you can use any. I'm just using a bronzer, but you can literally use any shade you want. Doesn't matter. I just need to add a little bit of base to this so that I can add some dimension to it. I'm going to go into the Snow Cone shade and I'm going to bring it kind of up and into the crease and really kind of open this up. Oh yeah, look how pretty. I'm going to grab the Natasha Denona Mini Nude Palette and I am going to use these two shades to kind of really define this outer corner and kind of blend all of this together. I am gonna go into this dark shade right here. I'm just gonna start kind of gently blending this into the outer corner, but any warm tone dark brown you have will work. Like, you do not need to have this particular palette, the Mini Nude, to make it work. I'm just using it because it is sitting right here and it's Natasha Denona and it's great quality. I'm gonna mix between these two shades. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of this and a little bit of this, kind of creating a little bit of depth out here. Now I am going to go into this shade in the Mini Nude and I'm gonna bring that along the lower lash line. And then I'm gonna grab this dark matte and focus that right along here. I'm going to grab this shade and I'm going to put that on the inner corner. I might even bring some of that snow cone down. Let's just put snow cone on. It's so pretty. Let's bring it down and along there. Ooh. You guys, seriously, I can't begin to tell you how much I love that shade. It's probably, I mean, it is just the prettiest shade ever. I am obsessed with it, actually. Okay, so this is the final look for look number 3, and I just went ahead and threw on the rest of my makeup. And obviously, I love this look. I love this shade. I mean, if you didn't already know, I'm obsessed with this shade. So I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. So that's it for the tutorial portion of the video. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. Now that we've made it through the swatches and comparisons, let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. First things first, the performance of the palette. I mean, of course I didn't use every shade, but the performance of all of the shades that I used, and as I was swatching this palette, these blend beautifully. They are her traditional formula that we're all used to and love. And overall, I didn't find any issues with the shades that I personally used, or I didn't see any issues when I was swatching them. So I think overall the formula on this is amazing, right? Now, I would have preferred this palette to be a smaller palette in that $65 range. I think she's been spoiling us with those palettes. And I think if you're like me and you're a makeup enthusiast and you love buying new palettes, you kind of get to the point where you really don't need these larger Natasha Denona palettes, unless they're a lot of mattes that you're going to use on a regular basis. In fact, I just had somebody ask me if I was going to buy one of the bigger Viseart palettes because they were recently on sale. And I just don't have a need for a big palette like that because I have so many really great palettes in my collection that I just don't need this much product. And I don't think we needed these larger pan sizes in this colorful story because a lot of people use colorful shadows on like special occasions, or you know, sometimes a lot of people don't wear them on a regular basis, but there are some people that wear them every single day and they rock them every single day. So I felt like this palette in this color story didn't really make sense to have it in this larger palette. The other thing that I want to mention is the color arrangement. So the arrangement of these shades is very, very hard for me. I'm not very hard. Most of you guys know that these little pinholes, you can pop a pin and kind of pop the shadow out and you can rearrange them, which I am totally going to do. This color story and the way that it's laid out doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I am somebody that in order for me to be creative, I need to be able to look down at something and have it make sense and have it a little bit more monochromatic where everything's lined up in a certain way so that I can then feel comfortable and a little bit more secure in my choices of what shades I pair. But when they're all spread out like it is in this palette, it's very, very hard for me, especially with color. I don't know what the intention was, but again, that is the reason why she makes it so easy for you to pop out the shadows and arrange them where you want them, which a lot of brands don't give us that option. In fact, most brands don't give us that option. So I'm extremely grateful that we have the option to do that because this palette desperately needs it for me on a personal level. But overall, you have to love color in order to enjoy this. If you are somebody that wears color every once in a while, even though these shades are so beautiful, especially the one that's on my lid, it's not worth $129. I would probably have a different opinion on that if it was the $65 palette, but because it's the $129 price range, you really need to love color in order to justify this purchase. Now, if you have $129 to blow on it, then you do you, and you can, you know, go out and get it and love it. Of course, you're going to be able to get it a little bit more affordably buying it on the Sephora sale, but overall, you really need to love it in order to buy it. So those are my final thoughts. I think it's a great palette though. If you love color and you love Natasha Denona's formula, and maybe you're a collector of Natasha Denona, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I didn't find one dud in this palette. And I haven't always had the best experiences with Natasha Denona. Sometimes I will have one of those palettes that just doesn't work for me, but I did not have that experience with this. Well, those are my thoughts. Sound off down below in the comment section. Let us know. Are you guys picking up this palette on the Sephora sale? Have you guys already bought the palette? You couldn't wait for the Sephora sale? Let us know in the comments down below if you guys are buying this or if you have already bought it and what you think, if you've already gotten it. Let us know. Let's just have a big conversation about this palette in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.